Okay, so the agenda for today, what I have kept is basically some introductory part. So this is your first session, both of you. And so I am just taking you to the Java introduction part. Then I will introduce you to the programming constructs and data types and classes, objects and methods, and OOPS properties and like abstraction, encapsulation, polymorphism and inheritance. So I will restrict myself to 4 of these first 4 parts. Okay. I hope my screen is visible. Please send me a S message in the chat box. Both of you. Okay. Thanks, Harun. Is my screen visible, Narasimha?
Yes, madam. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Fine. Okay. So we will restrict ourselves to these 4 topics for today. And next week, it will be the rest of the topic, constructors, core Java 1, interfaces, annotations, collection. I will divide each of them into 3 sessions. Okay. So with that, I welcome you both with the Java world. So basically, Java world is very huge. And to introduce you to Java, James Gosling was the person who introduced Java, and it was previously called as Oak before they came into the uh, finalized the word Java, and it was their his favorite coffee cup that was that the logo of Java has been chosen. Okay. And after that Oak, they came up with the later word called as Java. It is no more an abbreviation. It is not a short form of anything, but it is um, just a word that they have chosen. There is no such particular meaning. You must have known the Indonesian islands or whatever Java things are there. Okay, so fine. Sun Microsystems was the one which owned Java previously. Okay, first owner was Sun Microsystems, and later now Oracle is the company. You must have heard of Oracle, right? Put me yes, no in the chat box. Oracle is the company which owns Java at the moment. So one beautiful thing about Java is it is write once and run anywhere. So what does this mean, guys? Write once, run anywhere. So basically, you can write the Java code. It is like type the code and keep it. Okay. Once you keep it, you will do the compilation, and output of compilation can be taken and executed on a different machine. Like for example, you can execute on a Linux machine, Windows machine, and also a Mac. Okay, iPhone, whatever the iOS we call it as, right? So that is one thing. The meaning of write once, run anywhere. Okay, so this feature of Java makes it platform independent. So platform independent is nothing but executing one code on multiple operating systems. Clear? Okay, so I hope that is okay. So anything you have to ask, you can put me in the chat box or ask me in the chat box. Fine. And Java is basically a programming language. In particular, it is called as an object-oriented programming language. So what is the meaning of object-oriented programming? So basically, you see a car on the road. Okay. So the same car can be represented in the form of a code in Java. Okay. The car of the car, the brand of the car, the color of the car, all that can be replicated, can be written in our Java. So that is the meaning of basically object-oriented programming language. Is this clear, guys? I hope my speed is good and my voice is clear and you're able to understand. Put me yes, no. Yes, okay. Fine, Harun, what is your, could you explain it again? Okay, so basically object-oriented. So see, Java is itself all about creating the objects. So why do we have to create objects? So why is Java called as object oriented? So basically everything in real world in and around us, we keep seeing so many objects day-to-day basis. We see a tree, we see so many things all around us, right? So the same things can be visualized in the form of the objects in the code. Okay, so we go on creating the objects. Slowly we'll be introduced to the objects. So we'll go on creating new objects, and those objects will have some properties. So for example, I will give you the example of a vehicle. So vehicle moves, vehicle has wheels, vehicle has a brand, right? All those are the object properties. So the same properties of an object can be represented in the form of a code. So that is the reason we call, and we create objects in Java. We go on creating the objects. That is the reason we call it as object-oriented programming language. Clear, Harun? He asked me to repeat it again, so I just repeated.
Yes, ma'am, it's clear.
Okay, thank you. Fine. So where have you seen Java working? Or what makes you interested in Java? Harun first.
Yeah, to become a software engineer, I need to know all those programming languages. So yeah, that is why this is the interest.
Okay, fine, correct. So what about you, Narasimha Rao? Where have you seen Java working?
Yeah, I want to work in
Where? Like, have you seen some things working on Java?
yeah, banking and
Okay. So in the real world, many applications, many projects work on Java. I've given you few examples. So if you are owning an Android phone, okay, Android, Samsung phone, or whatever phones that comes into the market, LG phone, right? All those Android phones are basically working on Java, because Android itself is built on top of Java. Clear, guys? So basically all the phones, most of the phones, Android phones, are working on Java, and that's the best example to keep in touch with Java. And also we have very many web applications. Even I have developed some web pages. So those are also built on Java. There are gaming applications, desktop applications, many applications that work on Java. So some of the list you can just go through, read through. Okay, moving on. We have different flavors of Java. What do you mean by flavors? Basically different types of Java. Okay, so basically we have three types in Java. First one is called the standard edition, which is the part of whatever I teach today and for next weekend. Okay, so first one is called the standard edition, and then we have enterprise edition, which is Java EE, and the micro edition, which is Java ME. So what is this standard edition? Okay, Java standard edition is nothing but it is containing all the basics of Java. Okay, it contains all the basic fundamental knowledge of Java. Along with that, it has some, we can develop some desktop applications using Java 2 standard edition. Then what is this Java enterprise edition? What does it contain? So why it is used? So Java Enterprise Edition, it is basically used for web applications, all the web development of web pages. So they will be using this Java Enterprise Edition. And what about this micro edition? Micro editions, many phone or phone applications, mobile phones applications, they are built on top of micro edition. Just to repeat, we have three flavors of Java: Java Standard Edition, Java Enterprise Edition, and Micro Edition. All the basics, whatever you learn, no, to go to the next two steps, this is a must. It's like ABCD. So we have to learn the ABCD in order to jump to go on to the higher standards, right? So the Standard Edition is the basic fundamental things. Enterprise Edition for web development, and Micro Edition for mobile app development. So these are the three flavors of Java. So I want the session to be more interactive and ask questions as and when required in the chat box. Or you can definitely unmute yourself and ask me the questions. So let's try out our first Java program. Okay, I will send you across the link in the chat box. And you have to click on the link. And that is the program on Java. That is how the Java program looks. Click on the link that I have shared in the chat box. Okay, even I am having, I hope you can screen my Java code. Program is Java Online Compiler. Yes, put me in the chat box whether you can see or no. Also click on the link that I've shared in the chat box. Put me a yes message if you can see my code. Okay, fine, Harun. Fine, Narsimha. Okay, so basically, so sometimes what happens now, I will forget to shift my screen in Zoom. Okay, in that case, please alert me, tell me that I'm not sharing that particular screen, whatever I'm explaining. So I will switch the sharing. Right? Okay, so this is how a Java code looks like. So if you observe, the name of the Java file will be ending with .java, and it is having the code from line number 1 to 8. Let's not worry about what is there inside this. Just click on the blue button, run. Okay, and there you see the output, which is nothing but in the second line, I'm highlighting hello world. Okay, hello world is the output. So how is it getting hello world? Let's see line number 6. There is a println system.out.println statement, which is printing this hello world in the double quotes. Let's take out that and let's make it happy Java coding. And let's try to print. Let's execute. So click on the run button after changing line number 6. Please do it along with me. And once you click run, there you see happy Java coding. Clear, guys? So line number 6, system.out.println means what? It is the printing statement. It will display our output, whatever. If you have to print something on the output, then you have to use system.out.println. Okay, so now let's go back to line number 1 and start understanding the code. Did you try out, Narsimha? The code, did you click on run? Got the output? Harun?
Yes, we did.
Okay, fine. So line number 1 is nothing but a comment. Line number 1 and line number 2, they are the comments. What are comments? Basically, it is only for our information. This is not part of the code. Okay, it will not be executed. So they are like information for ourselves. So you are working in a project. Think of you have 10 members in the team, and think of you are working in a project. Then you have to convey a message to someone. You don't know who will be using your code. So we can make use of comments. Comments are, this is a program. This is a sample Java program. Sample Java program or first program, right? So we will just put this as a message so that anyone visits this particular code, he will know that this is a sample program. Oh, this is a sample program. It's a comment. But nobody will, it is not part of the code, or it will not be executed because of the 2 forward slashes. Clear? So this is a comment. Fine. Then let's go and understand what is the meaning from line number 3 to 7. So basically, all the Java code has to be written in a class. So class is like you are sitting in a room. right? With your laptop in front of it. So basically for our Java code, class is like a room where we have to write our code. Inside the class only we can write. You cannot write any code outside the class. So what I mean outside, inside. So inside means within the curly bracket. So this means it is the inside. Okay. So here, this is the starting part of inside. This is the closing part of class. So the curly bracket here, open curly bracket, I will say this as open curly bracket, is for start or beginning of the class, and the closing part is this curly bracket. So once I click on one, the other one will be boxed. So that is the reason I know that this is corresponding to this. So whatever brackets you would have opened has to be closed. We should always have even number of curly brackets. Okay, so class means basically it is a room for our code. And what is hello world? Hello world is nothing but a name for our class. So for example, if you are in college and all, you will know like which section, which class, right? So some names they would have given. So likewise, we have our code names about what that program is doing. So for example, this code is learning Java, right? We can make it learning Java. So we can use any name as long as it is meaningful and relevant to the code that the class is doing. So learning Java is the code, right? So basically this is the name of the class. Then what is line number 4? Let's not worry too much, but just understand this code. This is the main entry point of all our code. When you click on execute, the first thing that it will do is it will search for where is public static void main. Main is like the main door for our code. It will enter our program at this point, main door. Okay, so this is about it. So let's not worry about the rest of the words. Slowly we will get into the later details. So main is like an entry point. When you click on execute, it will search for this particular line and it will start line by line executing all the code. Then already I told you that if you want to print something on the console or the output, then you have to use system.out.println. And at the end, you should always have, see if I take out many statements in Java, it will either have a curly bracket or it will either have a semicolon. Semicolon is nothing but full stop in English, right? My statement ends there. So each of these are called as statements. Line number 3 is a statement. This is a statement. Basically, we have 3 statements here. Okay, so what is this curly bracket? So the curly bracket is for public static void main. It is the beginning of public static void main. See, the other one is already boxed. So that is the closing of public static void main. Here it ends. Okay, so this is how your first Java code looks like. Is that clear? Any doubts at this point?
Clear, ma'am.
Okay. Harun, any doubts? Okay, thanks. Fine. So let's go ahead and make some more things working. I will go back to the slides. So the way we write the program, there are some, definitely there are, when you are walking on the street or when you are driving a car, right? We need to follow some traffic rules. So then only we'll be having a safe journey. So similarly in our Java, if we have to write a good code, then we have to follow some rules. So these rules are called as syntax for our program. So basically this will be the syntax, okay, for our first program. This I already did. So the code output will be happy Java coding because system.out.println already has this statement. So for your information, I have just put down some information here. Have a look at it. Okay, let's go ahead. Now, what happens when you click on execute? Basically, when you click on that blue button run, right, what will happen to the code? So the first thing is it will look for public static void main. From there, it will go on executing each of the lines of code. So now, once you have a good code, we have to always compile our code. Compilation means we have to check if there are any errors in our code. So basically, there are two steps. I will explain it using a note paint. So basically what we have is we have our Java code, okay, which is a hello world.java. World.java is a Java file. So now we have to check if we have made any errors. So check if any errors. To get the output, there are two steps. So first step is to check the errors. If there are any errors, we need to first check for the errors. Then if there are any errors, we have to go and correct them. If not, we will get our output. Okay, we will be getting our output. So in these two steps, what we say for the first step is compilation. Compile the code. Compile the code. First step is called as compilation of the Java code. Then the second step is called run or execute. Execute the code. So these two steps are there. So for compilation, we have a command called as javac. For compilation, what we have? We have a command called as javac. C stands for compiler, Java compiler, or Javac. We also call it as Java. And for execution, we just use Java. Okay, followed by the name of the file. So if you have to compile a file, what happens? Javac hello world .java. This is how you have to compile the code. Okay, this is how you can compile the code. And then if you have to execute it, just say Java and give the word as hello. No need for .java for execution. It will already know. Clear? So, but in between these two steps, there is one more step which happens, and this will happen for all the programs. So let me give a diagram. Before it goes to these steps, there is an intermediate step. Okay, there is an intermediate step which happens, which is called as let's say which is called as one more step, which is we create a bytecode. Create bytecode. So what is this bytecode? Bytecode is nothing but it is some machine understandable code which happens once you successfully compile the code. Once you successfully compile the code, right? So once you successfully compile this code, it will create a bytecode. Bytecode is machine readable code. And then it will be executed on any platforms. So this bytecode can be executed on any of the platforms, that is on Linux, Windows, or on MacBook. This is how actually a program would look like. Clear, guys? So basically what happens? You have a hello world.java and we need to compile the code using Javac. Then we have to execute the code. So in between these two steps, what happens? There is one more step which is called as bytecode is created on compilation of the Java code. One code will be created which is called as the bytecode, and this bytecode can be executed on Linux, Windows, and MacBook. any of these operating system we can execute. That makes our Java as platform independent. Platform independent means run on any of these platforms using this bytecode. You don't have to need the Java code, Java program you don't need. Directly take this code, execute it. It will work fine. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, I did not hear that properly. Okay, fine, Harun. Narasimha, is it clear why Java is called platform independent?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Fine. Next, let me take you to the next slide. So there are some reserved words in our Java. We cannot use them. We cannot use any random words. Okay, some words are only confined to Java. You cannot use them in our random coding. So these are only called as reserved words or keywords. So this is the list of keywords. Just have a look at all these keywords. All these keywords you will get familiarized at the end of this course. Okay, so now let me show you another piece of code even before I go to the next slide. Okay, I have a piece of code for you and I will send that link in the chat box. Okay. Click on the link, both of you. And I will also share it. So this is another Java compiler called as JDoodle. Okay. So you can still carry on and do the programming parts in JDoodle, but for my next sessions, that is on next Saturday, I will only be using next Saturday also. I will take at the same timing, like 4:30, and I will be using Eclipse. Okay, I will be using an Eclipse IDE. For today, we will restrict ourselves. Before the next session, you have to install Eclipse. And for as of now, this compiler, online compiler, is good enough. So here we have another compiler called as JDoodle. Here also we have a class, public class, and just go through this code. And if you scroll down, there is an execute button. So you can click on the execute blue button. And you will see the output in the result in the black screen. Okay, so let me ask Narasimha first. Narasimha, what do you think the program is doing? Any idea?
Madam,
What is the program doing, which I'm showing on my screen?
it is just, adding two variables.
Yes, correct. And Harun, what do you think are the two variables?
The sum of X and Y. Y.
Yes. So here I have a class. So my class, already I told you what is a class. Class is nothing but the room for our code. This is the name of the class. You can give any names. I will change it and make it adding. Okay, adding numbers. You can give the name. And a class name always begins with a capital letter. Remember this. And following letters also you have to begin with. If you have multiple words, begin with again the next word with the capital letter. This is the coding conventions which we have to follow for the names of the classes. So begin with the capital letter. Multiple words will also begin with the capital letters. And you can use underscore and all that. You cannot begin with the numbers. Don't begin any of, we are not allowed to use the numbers at the beginning of the names of classes. So adding numbers, this is how I can give. Underscores are permitted. So here we have a curly bracket of the class, and the last one is squared for the closing curly bracket. Again, public static void main is here. We have three variables here. One is x is initialized to 10, y is initialized to 25, and we are doing x plus y, and we are trying to print the sum of what is contained in z. Okay, fine. So now let's go back and change these values, and you can observe that it is basically adding. So if I show you the output, it is 35, which is the output of 10 plus 25. So cool, guys. And now let's learn about what are the features of Java. So I hope my screen is visible for showing the slides.
Hello.
Yes.
Ma'am?
Yes.
Yeah. I have a doubt. Can you go back to that program?
Yeah, sure.
No, the program. Yeah. So in our last exercise, we showed class and the name of it, right? And here there is a new keyword added, yeah, public. Is there any difference?
Yes, yes, yes. Good question. So public is nothing but it is like this class is available. This class can be used by any other class. That is the meaning of public. Okay. So for example, this I call this method as public main method. Main method is declared as main is a method. Method means it is a function. It does some work for me. What is the main doing? It is the starting point for our code. So this is declared as also public. So public means basically this code is available for any other class to use. So for example, to give you a practical example, you have a public library, public garden, public park, right? Anyone can use that park. Anyone can use the library, borrow the books. So similarly, this class can be used by others who are able to access, accessibility basically. It is used by any others. So for example, if I make it private, the opposite of public, it will not be available for others to use this particular class. That is as simple as that. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, ma'am, it's clear. Thank you.
Okay. Fine. So now let's understand what are the good features in Java. So Java is simple to understand. Okay, if you write good Java code, it will be as good as you should write such a beautiful code that it should be very clearly understood by others, and it should be readable like English, like reading a book. It should be, it can be done. Okay, it is simple. That is the reason we call it as simple to understand. Now there are multiple concepts. As you go to the next two sessions, right, you will see that there is a little complexity in Java. It is not so simple, but once you get on with those concepts, it will be like very nice, beautiful code will be yours. Okay, and object oriented. So everything will be everything will be done on an object. We will be always working an object. We will be creating objects. We will be adding properties to the object, and we will be extracting those properties and working with those properties of the object. That is the reason it is object oriented. It is a robust and it is a secure language. Robust means it is very strong knowledge, strong, there is a strong and security. It provides a good amount of security, because of which it has been used in banking applications. Okay, it is very difficult to break the code. Then architectural neutral. So the memory management is very good in Java. Then multi-threading. Threading is a difficult concept. You'll learn it in the last session of this this class. So threading is nothing but like multiple threads can be used. That is the reason we call it as multi-threading. And platform independent, the concept of bytecode, which can be written once and run anywhere. So that makes Java platform independent. So these are the language features. Then The first building blocks, okay, basic elements are nothing but the variables. So what do you mean by variables? Basically, they hold some value. Okay, so let me show you a very simple example. Okay, so for example, here I want to store 100. Okay, and the next time I want to have there'll be score. Think of a cricket match, think of a match, football match, whatever match you play. So at the first, in between the match, the score becomes 100, then it becomes 150, then it becomes 200, 170, whatever. So here what is happening? The value of the score is changing, right? Score is actually changing. So now let me associate this score is variable. Okay, what is this? Score is varying, it is changing every moment. That is the reason I call this score as a variable. So variable is nothing but it holds a value basically, and it keeps the value of value will be changing for a variable. So supposing because it is holding a numbers value, we give the data type. Data type is nothing but what is its type? So int means integer. So basically 150 is an integer value in a variable called as score, and its type is int. Int stands for integer, and we have to end it with a semicolon. So this is how you write a variables in Java. Let me comment it. See, this is the how we provide single line comment. So this is a variables in Java. Clear why we need the variable? So here, okay. So variables are containers for values, and they keep changing. The values keep changing. That is the reason we call them as variables. So for example, there's an ice cream flavor which differs from person to person. You might like a chocolate, another person like vanilla, or I might like a butterscotch. So in other words, for example, I can make it as string. String is the data type which can not, it's not a data type. It's you can call it as a data type, which can take a variable name called as ice cream, and its value currently that it's holding is chocolate, and put a semicolon. So because we are using words here, for words we have to use string. String is the data type, and followed by the variable name equal to in the double quotes. Always strings will be in the double quotes. And for numbers that I already told you, int score is equal to 100. This is how you have to use the variables in Java. Clear? So basically variable is a data name that is used to store the data value in a program. Okay, so the name could be Anusha, class could be 6, standard could be D, age could be 13, and marks could be some other value. So these are all the variables, and these are all the values in these particular variables. Okay, we are initializing, means we are giving some value to it. That is the meaning. How do you declare the variables? Give the data type, variable name, put its value. This is how you can give the variable names. Is this clear? So now let me go back and show you the addition program. See, now it is very clear. Int is the data type, X is the variable name, and value that it holds is 10. So similarly, Harun, can you explain me this line? Let me put a comment.
Yeah, so the variable is y, and the value which contains is an integer. Is that all? Yeah. Therefore, we use that int integer to represent the value, like the type of that value.
And the value that it is holding is 25, correct?
25.
Yes. Okay. Can you explain me this line? Narasimha,
Here in this fifth line, madam.
line number 5.
Yeah, fifth, 5 variable x and variable y are adding int and storing it in z variable.
Correct. Okay. Z is also a variable. Okay. In variable Z. Correct. And that is also of the type int. So now both of you, let's go back and delete line number 3, 4, 5. Please delete it. And let's try to print our name. So how do you print our names? Just sit back and observe. String name equal to, and in the double quotes, put your names. And put a semicolon. And if you have to print the name in the system.out.println, give name is name. Do this and then let me know. Are you done? So this is how you can use string value. String means for words and sentences. We can always go for string values. Clear, guys?
There is an error in my code once again.
Okay, then I will give you permission to share your code. Just a minute. Okay, fine. I will stop sharing and then you can share the screen. Yeah, okay. Can you share your screen, Harun?
Yes, ma'am, once again.
Narasimha, did you get the output?
I'm doing it, ma'am.
Harun, you can see what that's what I told you. See, for numbers we can use int, but for words we have to use string. S capital for string. See, Java is case sensitive. You have to use proper cases, capital letters. They matter a lot. Semicolon is missing at the end. See, expected semicolon it is showing. So semicolon. Yes, execute it now. Got it? Okay, great. Fine. Stop sharing. Narasimha, any questions? Did you get the output? Got the output?
No, yes, ma'am. I got that.
Okay. So this is how you can write the Java code for using the strings. So how do you write these variable names? See, for variable names, again, all the letters should be small letters. See, for example, if you have one word, start it with a small letter. All the letters should be small. If you have multiple letters, we have to use capital letters at the beginning of every word that is next to each other. So for example, mathematics or whatever, math is a variable name which holds the marks of the math. And if you have two words, say I have two words, I have begun the second word with the capital letters and calling it as math marks. So this is the names of the variables, how you have to follow. Class, this is called as camel case convention. That is, multiple words have to begin with the capital letters. So that is called camel casing. So class name always begin with the capital letter along with camel case. Method names, okay, remember this as method names. So slowly I will introduce you to methods. So method names should always begin with small letters, again follow the camel case. Yeah, then when we encounter the methods, I will remind you. So comments, I already told you comments. Comments means they don't affect the code. They are only for our information. So we have two types of comments here. Look at the last 3 bullet points. So this / is a comment saying only one line I want to comment, then use this single line comment. So it is called as a single line. Whenever you want to comment one line in the code, you can comment that line. And if you have multiple lines to be commented, you can use multi-line comment, which is nothing but use a / use a star next, asterisk, okay, asterisk next to it. Put down your words in multiple lines and then end it with a asterisk and then again a /. So we have basically two types of comments. One is single line comment and another one is multi-line comments. They don't affect our code. They will be sitting only for our information. And then statements. What are statements in Java? Every line of code is just called a statement. And then blocks, multiple lines of code within the curly brackets. Okay, open curly bracket and close curly bracket. Multiple lines if you have, they are called as blocks of code. Fine. So now let's understand what are data types. So in real world, when you are dealing with lot of things, you will have to work with numbers, whole numbers, decimal numbers, and then you may have to use some sentences and words. And also you will be using some bigger numbers, right? Some true, false, sometimes yes, no answers. So for all that, we have a provision in Java, and that is achieved by something called as data types. So data types mean what is the type of data that a variable is holding. So to refer to a variable data type, we call that as a data type. So for example, int is a data type for the variable number because it is holding the value 10, number. Int means integer values. String means for words and sentences, we use string. So similarly, if you see here in the diagram, there are broadly the data types are broadly divided into two categories, primitive data type and non-primitive data type. So what is primitive data type? So primitive means basically we have, go to the last line, don't worry about the rest of the things. So last line here, byte, short, int, long, float, double, and then string, array also you can refer. So the same things I have written here. It is not clear picture. So have a look here. So we have these 8 data types: int, char, float, double, boolean, short, long, and byte. So these are the default values. If you don't give any value to the data types, these are the values which they will be initially be having. So for example, boolean will be used for true and false. So it will hold the value, only 2 values it will take, boolean, true or false, and initially it will always have a false value. Character means it will only hold one character, okay, A or 1 or 2, one of the numbers or one of the alphabets can be there in character, and the initial value of this is /u0000. And then byte, short, int, long, they all are for whole numbers. Byte will have initial, all these I will be having 0. Byte is for small numbers, short is also for a little bigger numbers. And then int is, see that sizes are different. That is the reason we have given so many types. Int for whole numbers, majority of the times we use int. And if you have bigger numbers up to 10 digits and all, then we can go for long. For example, mobile numbers, we can store it in long numbers, append with a L with the value. Okay, 9886845, and then append it with the L, then it will become a long. And then for decimal values, we have two types, which is float and double. All this will take 0.0 because they are the decimal initial values. Float and value for double, for decimal values. So here you can understand integer for numbers, float for lower decimal values, character one letter it will hold or a number it will hold. Boolean means only two values, true or false. Double means higher decimal values up to 15 to 15 digits after the decimal point. String means it will hold words and sentences. Just have a look at the examples. We will do the program on this. Go through this once again.
Ma'am. Narashim Haru, can you hear ma'am? Is she audible?
It is audible, but
Sorry?
it is audible, but madam, I think.
Yeah, I have muted. I have muted.
Muted.
Just I want you to understand these things before I go ahead. That is the reason.
Okay.
Okay. Understood? Clear about the data types?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So before I go to the next slide, let's do some practice exercise for the data types. So please do it along with me in the JDoodle or wherever it is comfortable. I will send the JDoodle link also. You can use the JDoodle link. Is my JDoodle link visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let's print each of the data types. So first of all, int, and then we'll say some lucky number equal to 10, and then we will use a string. String subject equal to Java. You can use any values, change the values, change the, I want everyone to use different variable names and different values. I'm doing just for your information. Float average equal to say for float, one thing observe here, or both of you. So for whenever you're having float value, no, always use a F along with the value. Okay. Then only it will be treated as a float value.
Float will contain only one value. I mean, one numeric value after the dot, right? Only one digit.
Huh.
So in case if you want more than one digit, we should use double.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. It's clear now.
Okay, and then character, char. See, characters you have to always use in single quotes. So as of now, I am only stressing upon these 6 data types because these are most important. Byte, short, long, they are very similar to int. And then we have to do a system.out.println. Keep the things in one line separated, then only your code will look good.
Ma'am, the variable character and the value should be in single quote.
Yes, no, single quote. Okay, only for
It should
strings.
not be in double quotes.
Sorry.
So if I put the value in double quotes, it's wrong, right?
Yes, it will be wrong.
Okay. Only for the
Only
string,
for
it's double
strings,
quotes.
you have to use double quotes.
Okay, ma'am.
Make up this code and then print all the things. So even if I put double quotes for a character, it will give me an error. So always use single quotes.
Yes, ma'am, it's done.
Okay.
Okay, I have to write the system out.
Yes, we have to write the system.out.println. Got it, Narsimha? Did you understand the data types? Narsimha?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
No. Go on printing all the values. Done? Once you are done, let me know.
Yes, ma'am, it's done.
Okay, fine. Narasimha, I hope you're done.
Yes, madam.
Okay, so now let's see. Once you hit public, how does the program work? So basically, in this program, what it does, it will first go to the line where it sees public static void main. It will go on executing each of the lines. That is how I get the output, right? So this output is 10, Java, all that, right? So one by one, all the lines will go on executing 3, 4, 5, 6. It goes on executing. So supposing I want a program, okay, I want a program to skip some of the lines, and then directly from line number 5, I want to go to line number 8. So how can you do that kind of controlling of the program? So you can control. Let me tell you how you can control. So we have some control statements in Java which will execute the code according to our wish. So basically, if a condition is being given, so that is called as if condition. So if you can use a if condition or a switch statement, you can change the flow of the program. So how in the flow chart, how it gives is, if there is a conditional code, if the condition is true, if it is true, then it will execute. If there is some conditional code here, if the condition is true, it will execute some other piece of code which we want to execute. If the condition is false, then it will have another piece of code which can be executed. So depending on the condition specified, whether it is true or false, we can change the code in the program. We can control the code. So how you can write these control statements? Use if else. If and provide a condition inside the parenthesis and followed by the blocks of if condition, that is curly brackets, and put down all the statements inside the curly brackets. If you want to specify one more condition, else if, and then put the second condition and again provide the block of code inside the else if condition. And you can go on with else if, multiple you can have. And the last condition, whatever, if none of these conditions are true, then you can go for the else part and say, if any of these conditions are false, then hit the last else part and execute the statements inside the curly brackets. So this is how you can control the statements. Clear? So I will make up a program. You can also do it along with me. Okay, so let's take out all lines of code, whatever we did. Let's keep it completely blank. We will do from the scratch. So first word is public and give the name of the class. Let's say compare. What we will do now is we will compare. I hope I'm sharing my JDoodle link. Please say yes, no.
Yes, ma'am, you did.
Okay, so now what we will do is we will make up a program to compare a number, compare a given number. Okay, we will ask user, no, we will give directly a number, and we will compare if the number is less than 100 or if the number is greater than 100 or if the number is equal to 100. So whenever you want to compare equal to, you cannot provide only one equal to, you have to provide double equal to. Okay, if you want to compare if the number is equal to 100. So this is how we will do the program. Okay, let's do this program now. So we will say comparison or compare is the program name. Compare and then provide the curly brackets and then public static void main, that is the entry point. String args. Then we will provide the curly brackets again. So we need to store a number. Let's store the number in called as int number equal to and give the value of the number as some number. You can use any number, random number. I'm saying 56. So number is currently holding a value 56. Next step, give if condition, if followed by parenthesis. What we are comparing? Number less than 100. Then within the curly brackets, give system.out.println. See, remember one thing, Java is case sensitive, which is nothing but S for system will be capital, S for string will be capital. System.out.println, and then give the message for the user that number is less than 100. Let's put a semicolon. Let's put else
Madam?
if condition. Huh?
Madam, int and integer both are same, madam, or it is very different?
Yes. Integer also you can use. Integer you can use. Okay. But most of the time we use int. Okay. Int is the short form. Integer also work. For example, character, char, that also works.
Okay.
And then we will use else if condition, else if, and then we will give else if condition like number double equal to 100. Then we will print a message saying number is equal to 100. Equal to 100. Again, the last condition, if both the conditions fail, then we will print a message number is greater. If it is not equal, if it is not, the other condition will be greater. We will use the greater. Once you are done, you can execute it. Once you're done, let me know. Are you done, guys? Harun, done?
Yes, ma'am, it's done.
Narasimha?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what is the message that you got? Which number you had input?
I given 75, madam.
Hmm.
Number is less than 100. It is printed.
No. How can 75 be less than 100? Check where you went wrong. So I will show you my program 75, and you should get the message that it is greater, no? Oh,
75, madam. Less than 100.
75. Okay, 75. Okay, I thought 175. Okay. And make it 175 and just check. Number is greater than 100. Correct.
Right.
And then check with 100 what you're getting.
It's equal to 100.
Done, Narasimha?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is how you can understand the condition. Depending on the condition, we will also be able to understand, or we will able to check any code. Whatever we want to execute, we can always do that. So fine. Next, let's understand one more conditional statement. I will share a link for that. Just hold on. Let me share the switch. It's called as switch statement. And 1 minute. What's happening? For the switch statement, I directly have a link and ready-made code. You don't have to sit back and type it. So let me go to Google, and I did not check that switch case. Just a minute, guys. I will stop sharing and share again. Okay, so you people can go through this link in the chat box. I will share the link, and this time you both have to explain me what does that mean, switch condition. Okay, both of you go through the link. I will give you next 3 to 4 minutes or 2 to 3 minutes. I have sent the link in the chat box. Hope you both are able to access that link.
Yes, ma'am, it is accessible.
Any of you understood and able to understand and explain it? There is a test the link, test the code that is in test it yourself, so that you can use. I will share that screen.
Ma'am, the keyword switch and the term day in it, till the present day or what? Like
Sorry, come again.
the keyword, what do you call that? Switch.
Mhm.
And the term day in it within the bracket.
Mhm.
What does it do like exactly?
Okay. So, so here what we have is these are the switch statement is also a conditional statement. So here in the switch statement, it should be followed by an expression or a value. Okay. Yeah, we can give either a expression, it will calculate an expression, or you can give a variable value. So depending on what you pass here, it will have different cases. Okay. A case X, case Y, case Z, 1, 2, 3, or whatever cases it could have. And depending on this case, this piece of code will be executed unless it encounters the break. Or if this condition it is met, this condition is true, then this block of code will be executed unless it encounters a break. Break means stop there. If none of the conditions cases are true, it does not match, then it will go to the default. Default means if the last case that is available, so, and it will execute the block of code in default. So if you have a look here, there is an example. Now int day equal to, you can click on try it yourself. And it will load the entire code for you. So basically there is a public class main, and that is followed by public static void main, which is the starting point of our code. And they have given a value int day equal to 4. So first let's execute and check what is the output. So they are printing Thursday. How is it getting printed? So basically the value is 4 here, the value of 4. So they have given a switch. Whenever we have multiple cases, no, better go for switch statement instead of if condition. It will become easy. So day value is 4. So case 1, it will match the value of day with any of these cases. So 1 is not satisfied. So 2 means it was not satisfied. It is actually, the value is 4 now. So directly it will go to case 4. There it is actually printing the value of Thursday, and it will break, stop. So that is the reason you are getting Thursday. Clear?
Yes, ma'am, it's very
Yes,
clear.
Okay. So another, you can change the value, put down 3, and you must be able to see Wednesday. All right, Wednesday is the output. Now, let's say I take out break. Okay, I will take out break of case 3. And what will happen? I have just taken out the break statement. Break statement is stop there, I told you. Remember? Break it. Stop it and come out. But let's see what happens now.
continue.
So it, unless it encounters a break, it will still go on executing. That is the reason it has printed Wednesday and Thursday. That is because, see, there is no break here. It will still go to this case and it will print. There it has a break, then it will stop. Understood the value of break?
Yes.
Okay. So supposing if I give the day value, let me put back the break. Okay. Break and semicolon. And if I give the day value of 8, do I have the value 8 here? Only till cases are till 7. So let me put a default value. Okay, DEFAULT default, and put colon, and I will print a message system.out.println. Okay, no day. There's no such day. And I will not put a break. Let's observe what happens. So I have put the day as 8. We don't have any such cases. So what will it print? So this time, if none of the cases are met, it will go to the default option and it will execute the code from the default option. That is the meaning of default. Clear, guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So let's go ahead, and these are about condition. Based on the condition, we can change the control of our program. Okay, so what happens if you have to repeat some things repeatedly? You can repeat some of the things. Suppose, for example, I want to have the students from 1 to 100. I want to enter some data from for the students from 1 to 100. So I cannot go on printing for every line 1, 2, 3, 4. If it is Excel, you can go ahead and print. But in Java, we want everything to be ready-made. We don't want to code much, but output should be more. It has to do everything on its own. So for this purpose, where you have to repeat some things, there is something called as a for loop has been given. Loop means do a repetitive task again and again until a stopping condition is encountered. So loop will go on until there is a stopping condition. So for this, we have actually 3 types of loop in Java. Let me annotate and show you. So basically, we have, just a minute, I'll use a whiteboard instead. So basically, we have clear all, and then we have 3 loops, 3 kinds of loops in Java. First one is called as the for loop. Second one is called a while loop. And third one is called as the do while loop. So what is this for loop? Now clear. We have 3 types of loop. Unless there is a stopping condition, it will go on. We need a stopping condition for all the loops. Condition for loops to stop. Unless it encounters the stopping condition, it will go on forever. So we have 3 kinds of loops. One is the for loop, while loop, and do while loop. So let me first show you the for loop, how it looks. For loop means what it will have. It is the syntax is, first we have to provide the for and for keyword, initial value in it, semicolon, put down a condition, and then semicolon, and incrementation or decrementation. Increment means increase the value or decrease the value. Any of this can be done. Okay, at a time, one of this can be done. Then we have to provide the blocks of code, that is curly bracket followed by the curly bracket. Put down whatever code has to be written inside the for loop. So for example, for int I equal to 1, I less than 10, I plus plus. So this is one of the condition. And we can go ahead and print all the values of I. So this is how a for loops looks like. Let's go ahead and execute the code. So take out your online compiler JDoodle, and let's only keep public static void main and a class name called as loops. I hope I'm sharing the right screen. Is my code visible,
Yes.
JDoodle?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So for loops, what you have to do? For and provide the parenthesis int I equal to 0, I less than say 10 is the condition, I plus plus, and then followed by curly brackets. I will just do a system.out.println and say I want to print the value of I. And first we will observe the output. See, it has printed from 0 to 9 numbers. I have written, see, instead of I writing system.out.println 1, system.out.println 2, up to 10, just I have put one system.out.println and it has given me all the numbers from 0 to 9. So why it has started from 0 and why it has ended up at 9? Let's see. Any of you can answer? Any answers?
We given I value is 0. That's why it is starting to print 0.
Correct.
Or is greater than 10 means it's before or before that only it is stopping.
Correct, Narsimha. Correct. So see here, I initial value will start from 0. That is the reason it has printed, it has started from 0. And we are stopping condition is as long as I is less than 10. 9 is less than 10.
Only it will printing.
Yes, correct.
If we are not giving the less than equal to, then it will give the 10 also.
Correct, yes. So it will give the value as less than 10. I plus plus. I plus plus means go on increasing the value of I by 1. So that is the meaning of I plus plus. So supposing I want to reverse the numbers, then what I have to do? I equal to 10. I, as long as I is greater than, say, greater than 1 or greater than 0, I minus minus. And go on printing the value of I. Clear? I get the numbers from 10 to 1 because initially it is starting from 10. As long as it is greater than 0, go on printing the numbers. So 0 to 1 are always greater than 0. At every step, go on decrementing the value of I by 1, minus 1 for all the values of y. Is that clear? Any doubts? Harun?
So far, no, ma'am.
Okay.
No doubts.
Madam, instead of giving minus minus, we can give plus plus I, ma'am.
Plus plus I also you can give. I will come back to that point in the Saturday session, next Saturday session. Okay, plus plus
We can
I.
give it or not, madam?
We can give.
Okay.
We can give. Okay.
Okay.
I will teach you what is plus plus I plus plus. What is the difference? Okay, this is about the for loop. So the same loop can be repeated for a while loop. So when you know the number of how many times it is going to repeat, then you can always use a for loop. Many a times we use for loop. When you don't know how many times to repeat, what is the initial value, you can go for a while loop. So while and give the initial value at the beginning, int I equal to 0. While and put the condition I less than 5. Say I want to print the numbers from less than 5. So I will provide a while loop and go on printing the value of I. So as simple as this is the while loop. What do you expect the output to be? Oh, wait, I have not given a stopping condition. That is the reason. I will say I plus plus. I have to increment the value of I. So anytime we have to give the starting condition, stopping condition, and increment or decrement the loop. So let me execute. Otherwise, we'll end up in infinite loop. It will go on forever. So now what it has given? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Because we have started the value of I equal to 0. And as long as I is less than 5, go on printing the numbers. And every step, increase the value of I by 1. And then we have another kind of loop, which is called as a do-while loop. Do-while loop means what? It is a loop. I will send it in an editor. That's a better way. Because first time we will always execute. Just give me a moment. I will stop sharing and I will look for the right link and send it back to you. So basically, at least once, if you, before even the condition is checked, I want to execute the block of code. At least once it has to be always be executed. Then you can always go for a So let me show you a link. I will share my screen. So here, at least once the link should always be, the statement should always be printed. So for example, let me initialize the I value equal to 0. I hope you can see the J code that I'm writing. And then do is the value. And at the end, what you have to put, you have to end it with the condition while I is less than 10. You can give it like this and put it a semicolon. So I will give system.out.println value of I. And at every step, go on incrementing the value of I. And I want at least 0 to be printed. Okay. If the first number always has to be printed. So I is equal to 0. First it will work. Then at the end, it will check the condition. So this is how a do while will work. So first it will always work. It will do the loop. Then it will check the condition. Okay, so this is how the do while loop will work. And click on execute. We must be able to see the numbers from 0 to 9. Clear? Covered at least once
So
it will.
yeah. So basically, both the steps, like both the methods are same, right?
You're asking what is the difference between while, for, and do while?
Yeah.
Okay, so there are multiple situations where we have to use a for loop, where we have to use a while loop, and where we have to use the do while loop. So for example, when the number of iterations is known at the beginning, better go for a for loop. Because we know I is equal to 0, I is less than whatever number is fixed. So better go with the for loop. It will be the easiest. So if the number of times is not known at the beginning itself, go for a while loop so that it will be easily incrementing the values as and when required. So you can change the value of in a while loop easily. When to use a do while loop is when you want to display the value. Say, for example, I can have one more system.out.println and then say numbers are displayed. Okay, at least once this has to work. So for example, even if I is less than 0, okay, now I is equal to 0. Now I have written I, it is wrong. The condition is actually failing. So let's see what happens to this loop. It will still be executing at least once. It will, so whenever you want to execute a loop at least once, then go for a do while loop. That is the difference between the 3 loops. I hope that answers your question, Arun.
Yes, ma'am, it is clear.
Okay, fine. Let's, so these are the different looping conditions. Whenever we want to do repetitive task, then go for the looping conditions. Okay, so at this point, I think I have given you sufficient information. So I want both of you just go through your memory, and I want at least 5 points to be explained as part of this. So let me pause for a while. Just recollect all the things that we have learned so far before I go on to the, I will give you 5 minutes for the recap of the points. 5 points you both have to explain me. Any 5 points. I don't mind which points. 5 points.
So can I start?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so basically the loop is to make the process one after one.
Okay.
Basically, yeah. So like within condition, we have to start with a program, like where it should start, and then where it should stop under a condition. That's called a loop. That's how the program works. And when we say the nested loop, which means under several condition it works with the same concept. Condition. Okay, if is an condition checking one, if the condition is true, it has to work in a different way, and when it's false, it has to work on a different way. That's how
Okay.
it goes.
Okay.
Can you show the point, the last point? I just need to see the last point you showed right now.
No, I will not share that. That slide is the next one. So you can come up with your own.
Okay. So the while loop in which, okay, for loop, 1 second. Yeah. So while we discuss about the while loop, the format is we have to initiate the value, like for example int I is equal to 0, and then the condition with use after a while, the term while, and then we need to give the I is equal to I plus 1, or like how many what do you call that, counts it has to move on, like 1 by 1 or like 2 by 2. Exactly.
How many times it has to repeat?
Yeah, it has to repeat. Then we have to print it, system.out.println. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, Narasimha, can you recap any 5 points? Any 5.
For while loop, do while loop,
You can come up with variables, data types, anything, condition.
do while loop, if we want to at least one time, if we want to print the value, we can go for the do while loop.
Yes.
And for
Any points? For example, what is your first program? You can explain that also. Okay, take your time. You can explain me at the end. No issues. So let's go forward, and I will explain this IDE. Okay, the screen that you are seeing is currently my Eclipse IDE. Okay, before the next class, what I suggest you both is install the Eclipse IDE. It's very simple. Okay, what you have to do is you have to go to the Google. Before the next class, please do it. So in the Google, just type there Eclipse downloads. This is the link. If you want, I can share it. And then if you scroll a little bit down, there is this orange download button. I will share the link in the chat box. So you have sufficient time. So that is the reason I want both of you to install the Eclipse IDE. Don't do it now. You will get distracted. So click on the orange button. It will start downloading an installer. And then once the installer starts, you will have to, installer will be something like this. Second option you can choose. I will show you the installer. Just give me a moment. So the installer is so something like this. It will be installer with the settings kind of the, what do you say that? The wheels kind of a thing. If you double click on it, it will take a while. And maybe I have to reshare, I think. Let me check. Installer. Yeah. Here, the screen comes up. Sorry. Oh, just stop sharing, just a minute. So these will be the options. Choose the second option, Enterprise Edition. Okay, this will be the option that you have to choose. Even if you choose first option, no issues. Either of this you can choose, first option or the second option. And then you have to wait till it asks you to launch. Okay, then it will be It's a complete installation. Fine. So I expect both of you to do it
Yeah, ma'am.
before the next class.
Yeah,
Okay. Or the last 10 minutes I will give you. Last 10 minutes I will give you. Okay.
ma'am.
So,
1 second.
huh.
Yeah. So at 4:30, I will have to leave this meeting as I have something like I have to leave this house.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I just want to
now
inform you.
within next 5 minutes you have to leave.
Yeah, after like 4:30, exactly at 4:30.
Okay. That is after 5 minutes, you can tell me like
Yeah, after 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Okay, great. And I will quickly wind up. Okay. So the meaning of, let's understand what is the meaning of the main statement. So we have been seeing public static void main in all our programs that we did. So first of all, public means this main method is available for anyone to use. For example, I can use this method. You can also use this method. Anyone can use this method. That is the reason they have given the word public. Static has a different meaning. Don't worry as of now. Void means it is the return type. What is the return type? It is not returning anything. So it is just a placeholder. In case int is returned, you have to place int. So nothing is returned as of now. Let's keep, that is the reason they have kept void. Main is the name of the method, and string args is called the arrays. Okay, arrays, which I will be covering in the next sessions. Fine. And okay, this is fine. Okay. Okay. So I will quickly explain the installation of Java. So basically we have a kit called as Java Development Kit. And inside that we have a runtime environment. When you execute the program now, it will enter this colored region where there is a heart which actually executes our code, which is called as the JVM. Okay, Java Virtual Machine. It executes and we will get the output because of Java Virtual Machine. Okay, so what does this JDK, Java Development Kit contains? It contains all the development kits, all the libraries, all the classes which we can use, all the APIs, everything it contains. And along with that, there is a runtime environment which helps us to execute our code, and the Java Virtual Machine which helps us to actually get the output. Clear? So these are the details which I would like to cover today. And the next session, I will compensate the time half an hour early. I'm leaving you. So I will compensate that particular time. And since one of you have to leave early, so I will close the session as of today, now itself, and meet you guys at 4 o'clock IST, okay, on next Saturday. Or 4:30, is that okay? 4:30 IST next Saturday. Well, anyway,
Anytime.
yeah. Anyway, she will be conveying the message. Sheila or whoever is the coordinator, AP trainings will be, Alpro will be conveying the timings for you both. Clear, guys?
Yes, ma'am. It's very clear.
Okay. Narasimha, is it clear?
Okay, next to Saturday and Sunday, it is over the class.
Full days. Yes, both the days. I will be taking some 7.5 hours. 7.5 to 8 hours.
Okay.
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 So we have a class tomorrow, or like we don't have?
No, not tomorrow. Not tomorrow.
week.
Next weekend.
Okay, ma'am.
That is
Thank you.
next Saturday, next Sunday. We will cover the 8-hour topic.
Yes, ma'am. Got it.
Okay. So see you both the next Saturday at the conveyed time, like 4:30 IST. I will convey. So she will coordinate along with you guys. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Sure. Thank you for teaching us. We really liked your teaching. It was really understandable.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, madam.
Okay. Fine, guys. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
And, we
Take
can.
care.
Okay. Bye.